Hello and good day from 80K Wealth Advisory Group. My name is Dan Davis, President and co-founder. I'm joined today by Corey Kraft, CEO and co-founder, and Don Vaught. Purpose today is we've really seen a lot of confusion in the financial planning and investment industry around what is an investment fiduciary. So we hope to shine a little bit of light on that today. The key focus is that there's really two main areas. One is conflict of interest, and the second is the area of due care. I'm reminded of a meeting that I attended over a decade ago downtown St. Louis. The College for Financial Planning Board was doing a city tour where they were going around throughout the U.S. and they invited their members, certified financial planners. And the purpose for them was to go around and educate about what they were doing in a coalition that was purposed to influence legislators to increase a very low standard of care from investment advisors to consumers to a higher standard of care. Which, as I was sitting there listening as the president of the Financial Planning Association St. Louis chapter, I thought, that sounds like a really good idea. But what followed really surprised me. The amount of pushback that occurred from the members was, I don't even know how to describe it other than shocking. I was like, am I in the same room with people that I share a passion with to serve clients? It's things like, we won't be able to implement our business model with this increased standard of care, or we won't be able to make the same kind of money that we are making. And I had this flashback into 1988 where I was sitting in Russ Galfano, my manager's car. I was fresh out of business school at Drake University, thinking I knew as much as I needed to know to conquer the world with my investment planning degree, and I knew nothing. And we were sitting there and he said, here's what you did well in this meeting, here's what you didn't do well. And then the next part is something that 30 years later still harkens in my mind. And that was, he says, this is what most people would end up advising this customer to do. And this is the amount of money that they would make. And it was a lot. And he says, but this is what we're going to do. And you're going to make about a third of what you would have made. And here's why we're doing it. And basically, it was just better for the client. And then Russ looks square in the eyes and he says to me, Dan, it's important that as a financial advisor that you always do what's best for the customer regardless of what you get paid. And therein lies one of the roots of conflict of interest, is how financial advisors make money when they're serving clients. I'm going to turn it over to Corey to talk more about conflict of interest.
So one important component of researching and trying to establish what financial planning firm you may want to work with or what financial advisor you may want to work with is to really understand what, if any, conflicts of interest actually exist. At our firm, we go to great lengths to try to eliminate conflicts of interest, and in situations where we can't, we certainly try to minimize them. And if any exist, we have to disclose them to you. Another thing that's a bit confusing is the investment fiduciary standard. At 80K Wealth Advisory Group, we are held to the investment fiduciary standard for all of our advisory accounts. At our firm, we're held to that standard for both retirement accounts such as IRAs, 401ks. We're also held to that standard for non-retirement accounts. The reason that that's important is that in some cases, advisors may not be held to that standard at all, or they might be held to that standard for part of it, or maybe all of it. But at 80K, we are held to an investment fiduciary standard for both retirement and non-retirement accounts and advisory accounts.
So another important part of the investment fiduciary standard is known as due care. This simply means that a financial professional needs to show an appropriate level of knowledge, effort, and prudence when dealing with your transactions. This can be as simple as knowing their client, such as their liquidity needs, when will they need to take out money, or what their risk tolerance is, who's willing to take high risk and high reward, and who wants more conservative investments. It could also mean understanding an investor's investment history, as certain products could be quite bewildering to a novice investor. Another important level is the overall research level done by the firm. Not only should the firm understand your own needs, but they have to understand the products that they're bringing to market and the various facets that these could have upon your investment selection. And finally, it's just really the effort of the financial advisor. Whether they know what they need to do or they understand you, it's simply putting in the time to be able to make the right decisions for their individual client. And now back to Dan.
So as we bring this to closure, I find that the financial planning and the investment arena are very complex. As a leader, I like to try to give clear communication that's simple. And so as a leader to others, what I would say to you is, as a customer, ask yourself some very important questions. Question number one is, do you want to do this yourself as your own advisor? Or do you want to delegate this to someone else? If you want to do it on your own, there's a lot of great institutions out there now that can help you on the investment side. And there's some great magazines like Kiplinger, et cetera, that you can read to be able to bring yourself up to speed on the financial planning components. Most people are not comfortable with that because the magnitude of error is so significant on the rest of their retirement life that they would prefer to delegate that to a financial advisor. So if you do that, then the next question is do you want the highest standard of care? Meaning, do you want someone who's acting as an investment fiduciary for you in all aspects of your life, or is that not important to you? Now, I will admit that I am completely biased. When I started off in the industry, the first 2 decades plus, I operated as someone who was working under that lower standard of care, living at a higher standard of care based on that conversation I had with Russ in his car. But our firm, 80K Wealth Advisory Group, has become an investment fiduciary because we believe that that's the best harmonious relationship to have with customers. Now, as an American, the beautiful thing is you get to decide that for yourself. If these kind of informative videos and other type of updates are things that you enjoy, go in and like us on Facebook. We also would ask that you would share this with your friends because there is a lot of confusion. And if you would like to bring yourself up to speed in some areas, go to FINRA's website, the SEC website, the Department of Labor website, and really take this matter serious because it is important. In signing off, I'd like to thank you for your time. I'd like to thank you for your trust. I'd like to thank you for your business. Have a great day.